move back in the defensive backfield, and we're going to start with the safety unit, probably the weakest unit on the defense right now. I don't know if anybody would really argue with me on that, though. The Browns have added some decent veterans to fill out the depth chart here in the offseason. So last year on the initial 53-man roster, the Browns went into the season with Grant Delpit, Jog Juan Thornhill, Rodney McLeod, DeAnthony Bell. Man, I hate to see that guy go. And Ronnie Hickman. So let's kick it off here, the discussion with the top dog at the safety position, Grant Delpit, 6'3", 208 pounds, 26 years old, heading into year 6 with the Browns this season. He signed a 3-year, $36 million extension with the Browns toward the end of the 2023 season. His cap hit here in 2025 is just $5.9 million. Interesting note here, if I'm reading all these numbers correctly from Over the Cap, this is the final season for guaranteed money for Grant Delpit. So theoretically, not saying that I want this to happen or that I think it'll happen. I'm just saying, hypothetically, theoretically, the Browns could trade him next offseason and save $4 million against the cap in 26 and nearly $13 million in 2027. Just an interesting note to make there about Delpit and the way his contract is structured. Grant Delpit played 16 games last year in 2024. He had 111 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery, and a pass breakup. Ever since this dude tore his Achilles ahead of his rookie season, he has come back and been a freaking beast at safety for the Browns. He's missed 6 games over the last 4 seasons. That's it. After missing that entire rookie season, he's had 66 tackles, 105, 80, and now 111 over those 4 seasons. He's had 6 interceptions. 4 of them came in 2022. So that means 0 picks last year. And that is an area that not just Delpit, but this entire secondary really needs to improve upon, is coming down with interceptions. So another season for Delpit coming up, and excited to watch him continue to make tackles and be a tackling machine for the Browns at that position. Next up, Ronnie Hickman, 6'1", 210 pounds, 23 years old. Similar to Mohamed Diabate, he's heading into his 3rd season after being a UDFA in 2023. So a great UDFA class for Andrew Berry in 2023. Ronnie Hickman played in 14 games last season, had 45 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 fumble recovery, and a pass breakup. Just 1 interception so far over his 2-year career, and that was that huge pick 6, if you guys remember, against the Jets on the Thursday night football game that locked down the Browns' playoff spot in 2023. Hickman is a very solid player. Okay, he's been a huge hit, like I mentioned on UDFA signing, but relying on him as the main starting free safety, I'm not saying that it can't happen or that he can't continue to ascend and become that type of player. He has done very well in his spot start opportunities, but we've primarily seen him now fill in a reserve role for the Browns, filling a rotation with other guys for depth and coming up whenever there's been injuries, and he's done very well in that role. But the Browns seem to be really banking on him taking that next step for the team and for the defense here in 2025. So with Delpit and Hickman really being the only 2 safeties on the roster for a large amount of the offseason here, the Browns finally did go make some free agent signings at the safety position. They brought in Rayshawn Jenkins, 6'1", 220 pounds, 31 years old. It's his 9th NFL season. Signed him to a 1-year, $1.25 million contract. These 2 guy free agent signings are very similar. One is 31, the other is 32. Both it's their 9th season. Both they're a 1-year, $1.25 million deal. Jenkins is more of your in-the-box strong safety, and I would see him being as more of the direct backup to Grant Delpit. Last year with the Seahawks, Jenkins played 13 games with 53 tackles, 2 tackle for loss, 1 sack. It was actually his first career sack. And then he had a fumble recovery for a touchdown, a 102-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. The 2 seasons before that, from 2022 to 2023 with the Jaguars, Jenkins had 100-plus tackles and in each of those seasons, and he had 10 total TFLs over that span. He also forced 3 fumbles in 2022. So he's a very good tackler as well. I definitely like this signing, like I said, as depth behind Delpit. I think this is a very good fit for Jim Schwartz's defense, and I think Browns fans could be pleasantly pleased with Rayshawn Jenkins here in 2025. The other free agent we signed was DeMonte Kazee, 5'11", 174, 32 years old. Like I said, 9th NFL season, just like Jenkins, signed to a 1-year, $1.25 million deal. This is more of your center field free safety type of guy, your backup rotational guy with Ronnie Hickman. Last year with the Steelers, Damontae Kazee played in 15 games with 31 tackles, 2 pass breakups, 1 pick. He's a guy, though, whose single season high in interceptions is 7. Okay, that's great. So he has a single season high of 7 picks back in 2018 when he played for the Atlanta Falcons. So probably, again, the weakest unit on the defense. They sat with Delpit and Hickman for a long time, finally signed Rayshon Jenkins and Damontae Kazee. I think those are 2 great signings for the Browns for depth. The other guy that I'll talk about here, and it's not much to talk about, is Nick Needham. Kind of listed just as a defensive back on the Browns website. He can play some safety, can play some corner, that type of player. 6 foot, 193. He's 28 years old. 7th NFL season. He's on the vet minimum for 1 year here with the Browns. He has spent all 6 seasons of his career so far with Miami. With the Dolphins, he had 2 picks in each of his first 3 seasons. Has not played a ton the last 3 seasons, just 2 games in 2024. 1 tackle, that's about it. Been on and off the practice squad, that type of stuff. So he likely won't be on the active roster, I can't imagine. Could be a practice squad candidate for the Browns this year. Other names to mention here, you got Christopher Edmonds was the UDFA for the Browns that they signed last season. And then you've got Donovan McMillan, the UDFA they signed this season. Donovan McMillan is somebody I'll be very interested to watch and pay attention to over training camp and during the preseason. So if there's one guy that you guys remember from this episode as training camp and preseason kickoff, just remember Donovan McMillan will be an interesting player to watch for the Browns.